This is how we see the 4th of July.
When I see Joey with food all over his mouth, I'm going to my emotional place now.
We'll not only focus on how we celebrate now, also in the future.
Some type of ethereal alien invasion is happening.
But let's also recognize why we celebrate.
It's a constant reminder of our history.
Our nation was founded in rebellion.
It was about a belief in freedom.
Sustained in survival.
George Washington came that close to losing the war.
And won by doing something implausible here in New York.
A heroic suicide mission.
On Independence Day, we're reminded united we stand and united we celebrate.
Happy birthday, America!
This is the Snapshot New York 4th of July special. The call to colors on the USS Wasp. A formal ceremony rooted in pride and as a symbol of admiration. Respect given every evening at sunset. The USS Wasp exudes the patriotic pride felt on America's birthday.
A lot of people refer to it as the 4th of July, but we really should, refer to it as Independence Day because it's a celebration of getting our independence.
The top deck of an amphibious assault ship is a perfect place for Marines and sailors to give us perspective on Independence Day.
When I think of this holiday, I think about it's a constant reminder of our history.
A history of a nation founded on a set of beliefs that we're all created equal. That it's not where you're from, it's about who you are.
I love America because, for example, I'm from Jamaica. I'm from a small country. For me to come to a country like America and to be able to serve in the Navy, to protect a country that I love and that offers so much, it's amazing. You have opportunities, whether if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever the case may be, the option is there. It's just for you to make a decision and go for it.
My favorite are the three inalienable rights, which is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You have the freedom to live your life how you want to live it and work to pursue your dreams. You'll always be overcoming adversity, but the beautiful thing about this country is there's going to be a way through.
A way through, together, united, and a reminder of the traditional motto of the United States, out of many, one.
One positive message is that we've gained independence, we've grown as a nation, and we will continue to grow as a nation.
I've been thinking a lot about what our nation stands for today, how courageous it was to declare independence, the seemingly impossible challenge of defending it, and how just days after our country was born, it almost died, right here, fittingly on the grounds that have become a cemetery.
Hello.
Hey, I'm Steve.
Hey, Steve. Great to meet you.
Barnett Schechter is a historian and the foremost expert on the battle for New York. He literally wrote the book.
What is the importance of this hill that we're standing on right now?
This hill is the epicenter of the largest battle of the American Revolution.
Each year, the Battle of Brooklyn is honored on these grounds. Brick TV was at Greenwood Cemetery with the reenactors.
The question is why? Why has no one heard of it? Why was the largest battle here in New York? And why was Brooklyn the key piece of ground in what was the greatest strategic prize of the American Revolution?
Back in 1776, New York was the gateway to North America. In fact, John Adams wrote, "New York is the key to the whole continent," which is why George Washington chose this plot to stand his ground.
Here the Americans are facing this daunting enemy juggernaut, and in the face of it they are declaring their independence.
The British had more than 400 ships in the New York harbor, plus 30,000 well-trained military up against about 12,000 untrained American militia.
The men who held this hill were doing so against great odds, and it was because, as Washington had exhorted them the day before, he said, show them what free men fighting for their own homes and their own country can do. in the face of paid mercenaries.
Those words that he spoke tend to echo in history in the point that we now as Americans embrace that ideal. That belief was what powered the colonists.
It was about a belief in freedom for everyone.
The British not only outmanned the newly formed American army, they also outmaneuvered them, marching all the way up to Jamaica, Queens, to attack from the flank. Washington had no choice but to retreat to the East River.
About 250 of them, the famous 1st Maryland Regiment, they made a heroic suicide mission to protect the fleeing Americans at what we now call the Old Stone House.
The Americans had a problem. How could they escape across a river patrolled by the British? The solution came from the skies above.
Talk about belief, there was a sense that we were fighting in a just cause. We were fighting to give all people a better life, and that somehow there was a higher power that was smiling on us.
America was on the verge of annihilation just a few days after it was born. But in the words of one famous New Yorker,
It ain't over till it's over.
how our nation was saved on the shores of Brooklyn. When Snapshot New York's 4th of July special continues. August 1776. Just a month after declaring our independence, our nation was nearly lost in its infancy.
George Washington, commanding in Brooklyn, came that close to ending the revolution right here.
Jeff Richmond is the historian at Greenwood Cemetery, the same ground where Washington troops were massed in Brooklyn and soon pinned against the East River.
He came absolutely as close as one can come to losing the battle and losing the war all in one day.
Then, the skies opened up for 2 straight days. Visibility was down to just a few yards, giving Washington and our nation an opening in the dead of night.
Gathered all the boats they could find on the East River. They silently got the men into boats and smuggled them across the river.
Nearly all of the troops made it across before sunrise.
The sun is coming up and the British are going to see what's what. And instead, those 2 days of rain created such a blanket of fog that rolled in as the sun was coming up. No one could see through it. The last 1,000 men were able to go down to the ferry landing and get on the boats.
This Battle of Long Island has always been called a loss. How can you explain maybe the real message that we should be taking from what happened on this hill?
That whole campaign, I would say, is really a victory in disguise. This may have been a defeat, but it represents everything that America stands for. That idea of independence, of liberty, of freedom of conscience, freedom from fear. The American Revolution, as the British learned to their chagrin, was a war for ideas and for ideals that transcend space and time.
The American Revolution had more than a few unsung heroes, like Mary Murray. When the British landed in Kips Bay in Manhattan, they were ready to finish off what was left of Washington's army. What stopped their advance was an invitation to a party. The wife of a local merchant by the name of Mary Murray invited British General Howe into her home for cake and wine. It was a long shot, but it paid off. Howe accepted. And while he was being entertained in this last-minute party, his troops waited. Those 2 hours were pivotal because it gave Washington's army enough time to escape up Manhattan without being seen. For their contributions to the war effort, this plot of land where Murray Mansion once sat is now on 35th and Park in a section of Manhattan called Murray Hill. Nearly 250 years later, Greenwood Cemetery still honors those who defended our nation on Battle Hill with monuments and even a special statue with a deeper meaning.
We are approaching the altar to liberty and Minerva.
Minerva is a Roman goddess, symbolic of the balance between war and culture. She stands on the highest point in Brooklyn, waving at her sister, the Statue of Liberty. She also stands as a reminder of what was won in defeat against the longest odds.
Give us a little perspective. How big of a mismatch were the two armies that were facing each other?
1962 Mets versus the 1939 Yankees or something along that line.
The 62 Mets have the modern record for the most losses. The 39 Yankees are considered one of the best teams ever. And Washington's loss in Brooklyn has something else in common with the 62 Mets, because 7 years later, they both won. Because of those men who fought on this hill, America would go on to win the freedom we now enjoy. Their unwavering determination has become an American ideal, and the resolve shown in this Battle of Brooklyn still burns bright in us. The turning point in the war has been immortalized in one of the most awe-inspiring paintings at the Met.
It's unreal. You haven't seen anything like it, truly.
Washington crossing the Delaware.
And a big part of the power of this work is its sheer size. It's not an Instagram image on your iPhone. It's like, you know, you have to see it in person. And when you see it, it's like overwhelming.
It's 12 feet tall and 21 feet wide. It is a destination piece. 172 years after it was painted, it still has the power to move you.
Just like jaw-dropping. Your jaw's gonna hit the floor, and it's just not gonna be what you expect, and I think you're gonna have a much stronger reaction to it than you think you're going to.
Washington crossing the Delaware, which is the scene we see in this painting, was a turning point in the war.
Illustrating the determination and courage of George Washington, steadfast in the face of adversity.
It's a wonderful pose, leading them forward, looking like a great and strong leader. It's an extraordinary tour de force of painting. You can see he uses a thickly loaded brush here to show the top of the iceberg. He made an effort to show the broad breadth of the American citizens, including an African-American, farmers wearing farmers' hats. One of them has indigenous beadwork bags. There's a Scottish hat there to show that everyone was in the same boat. And there's a little spiritual reference, I think, the morning star, guiding us toward this very important goal, forming a democratic nation.
The story it tells and the message it conveys about the American spirit embodies the principles and values that define America.
This was an extraordinary experiment in democracy, but we had a long way to go, and we're still working on those aspects of our history.
Fireworks have been an Independence Day tradition from the start, but that celebration is leveling up to a technology that's revolutionary.
Our forefathers would love what we're doing out there.
The future of our celebrations when the Snapshot New York 4th of July special continues. It's a night for celebration. Families watch the 4th of July show. This is the new way to celebrate Independence Day. LED lights paint the darkness with brilliant colors. Symbols of American pride are formed by drones, creating a sky symphony.
We're Sky Elements drone shows, and what we do is we take hundreds, even thousands of drones, put them in the air, and tell stories.
The artistry and the precision of the choreography is captivating.
Just to hear all the oohs, ahs. We've got a lot of kids guessing what the next shape is going to be. So much fun. I love hearing the roar of the crowd.
The experience created is unforgettable, and it begins in front of a computer.
An animator can spend 40, 60, 120 hours a team could spend on a show to make sure they all have the right path that they're going to fly for that night. We synchronize their clocks and we send them into the sky.
How do you keep them from running into one another?
We get that question a lot, Steve. It all is dependent on two things. Number one, a really good designer that's designed to make sure those drones don't hit each other. And then number two, technology that allows those drones to know exactly where they are in 3D space with 1 centimeter accuracy. That's how we get those tight designs in those shapes in the sky.
Rick and his company were specialists in fireworks, but now the #1 drone entertainment provider in the nation. They've done more than 500 shows.
We're not drone people, we're firework people. But at the same time, it's a natural fit into what we do in producing shows, both from a production level of just making it happen, but even the visual aspect of it, something that we were already leaning into, but we didn't have a medium that we could really make that defined, that unique in the sky.
Is this the future of fireworks displays?
The future of the drone shows, I think, quite literally, it's huge. It is as big as the sky. Pyrotechnics, fireworks, they're not going to go away. Fireworks do things that I can't do, and I do things that fireworks can't do. I love them together. But the drone show space is going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to get more creative.
The Founding Fathers envisioned a nation that would grow and adapt in pursuit of a better future. And that innovative spirit has propelled our nation forward.
How do you think our forefathers would view this?
I tell you, when we fly that American flag that is 700 feet across and 300 feet tall, I think our forefathers would love what we're doing out there.
Honoring the past while embracing the future, drone shows have become a symbol of progress, a testament to American ingenuity, and a physical representation of America's spirit of independence, soaring like an eagle and lighting up the sky. One thing that won't change is an all-American food with a man and his microphone.
The battleground upon which God and Lucifer wage war for men's souls.
The star of the hot dog eating contest when the Snapshot New York 4th of July special comes back.
It's go time. It's go, no go, lock and load, love him and leave him, smoke him if you got him, see you want to see him on the other side. Time.
This orator extraordinaire is putting the finishing touches on his most recent masterpiece.
Okay, good night, Irene. Wake me when it's over. It's go time.
George Shea is the master of ceremonies for the Nathan's Famous hot dog eating contest. In every right, he is a showman, a hype man, and a wordsmith.
They say that competitive eating is the battleground upon which God and Lucifer wage war for men's souls, my friends. When I talk, I go very grand, very epic. It's absurd and ridiculous, but it's true. I know you're joking, but I've got goosebumps. I know Joey is not as big a hero as LeBron, but somehow I like him better than LeBron.
This was the official weigh-in for the contestants. Could have been held anywhere, but why not the Empire State Building?
People have a very proprietary feeling about certain things in New York, right? The contest and the hot dog became part of New York, so there's a feeling of that's my thing, that's my thing.
On the corner of Surf and Stillwell, George strides towards his stage. Along with him, his recognizable straw hat.
When you put on the hat, you're hearkening back to Coney Island, right? And it's a bit of a mask. Now you're like the guy in the hat. Do whatever you want.
Before the event, this chairman of Major League Eating is involved in every aspect of TV production.
Each one comes up, as I said, to a drop. Boom!
He makes his final script adjustments on the fly.
The power that enabled humanity to survive in the cold rain of time. I don't really know where that's going. You can tell he's feeling it now.
The hot dog eating contest pits legendary athletes racing the clock and chowing down.
It's just this disgusting array of sloppy food being stuffed in their mouths.
Some find it disquieting. I find it beautiful. It's like watching Picasso paint. When I see Joey with food all over his mouth, I'm going to my emotional place now.
Over the past 20 years, this event has grown, with George as its shepherd. More than 2.5 million viewers watch the live broadcast. The highest ratings are in the first 15 minutes during George's introductions.
The difficulty in his marriage began after he named his children mild, medium, and hot.
He attended Columbia University, where he studied literature. You can hear that in his intros, which range from ironic to spine-tingling.
He holds his loss to Joey last year like broken glass in a fist red with blood.
Are you a writer, a comedian, or a rapper?
Well, all I would say to that is, my voice is my instrument and my song is my gift to you.
It's time to take a stand, just my salivary glands.
George was born in Brooklyn with more than just a hop in his step. There's a little hip-hop.
Draw a line in the sand.
What do you hope that the audience gets from watching these shows?
At the end of the day, I want them to feel like human passion. I want them to feel the triumph of the human spirit when they see Joey or whoever it is win. I want them to feel that energy, those goosebumps. That's what I really want. Of the 4th of July of one nation.
I always thought the 4th of July holds a special place in all of our hearts. Maybe that's because it's a time for us to celebrate with our families, with cookouts, with beach time, with fireworks, or with drones. But the magic of the holiday really lies in its ability to uplift us and inspire us, to bring us all together. And we do pay respects to the freedoms that were won through survival here in New York. It happened 250 years ago on the same soil which we now rejoice. It's a testament to the unity it took to create our nation. And maybe offers us an opportunity to look past our own disagreements and embrace our shared love for freedom. To simply appreciate the beauty of our diverse tapestry as a nation, as united we celebrate.